Hi, Kerry here from My Cloud Bookkeeping. You may have received an email from me letting you know that there were significant changes coming to your QuickBooks Online interface. Or perhaps you opened QuickBooks one day and everything looked different. Intuit have made significant changes to the way the interface looks. I don't know why they've done this, and quite frankly, so far I don't like it. I can no longer find my way around in my sleep, and if I'm helping someone and I can't see their screen, I can no longer direct them. I'm hoping that this video will help you find your way around and reduce the amount of time you waste trying to find the functions that you normally use. I'm sure I'll get used to it. Don't really have an option. So if you've already seen this change, I hope this helps. And if not, here's your chance to be prepared.
I've opened up the sample company, and it's either the new version you've been working with for a while or completely different to what you're used to. So we have these modules sections across the top here, which is kind of stuff that we used to see down the side, but they're kind of still here as well. And then of course across here we have the AI giving you all sorts of advice. Before we kind of get down to the section that we're used to seeing, which is, our bank accounts and whatever we're monitoring with the widgets that we like to use. So quite frankly, I find this a big cluttered mess. I guess I'm just going to have to get used to it. When you take a look at what we had before, it just felt so much cleaner. And I'm guessing that's mostly simply because it's what I was used to. So anyway, whether I like it or not is not really the issue, is it? So when we pop across to the very top here, we see this button that says Create. So this replaces the New button. So whereas we used to have a New transaction button, you simply hover over Create, and this box here, it looks really similar to what we saw before. You've got your customer, transactions, vendors, payroll if you use it, and then the other for if you're doing any of these other special types of activities. So that in itself, not so bad. For some reason, the modules have been renamed My Apps. And if we hover over them, we can see a navigation bar that's very similar to what we used to see down the left-hand side. So if you're looking for I used to call them modules, but the sections, whatever you're looking for, you simply have to hover over My Apps. Now, I think the idea is that this left-hand bar down here is a lot more customizable than what we had before. So what I don't love about that was I used to be able to help people without even looking at their screen, and I knew where everything was with my muscle memory. And now it's going to look different for everybody, but it also might help for you to be a little bit more efficient. So I would love to hear what you think. If you have a look here at bank transactions, you can see a little bookmark. When we click that little bookmark, it pops it up here into a bookmark section. So if there are sections within the modules, apps within the apps, who knows what we're going to call them, you can bookmark them here and then have faster access to them up here. Not sure if that's helpful or not, but it is a way that you can organize the things that you use more regularly. Now, if you're thinking apps, isn't that what we had connected before? You're correct. Those are now up over here. And if we take a look here, these are now called My Integrations, which kind of makes sense. So if we click here, you can see what integrations you have connected and operating with the little green check marks, and connected and needing attention. So integrations are popped up on here on your top right, and they're now called My Integrations and not apps. So let's take a look and see what else is on this bar. We've looked at Create, we've looked at Bookmarks, we're sitting here on the dashboard. So let's look at Feed. You can tell by the design of this little circle thing that it's the AI. You'll get used to that as you get more accustomed to using the AI agents. I do have a different video on the AI agents, so check that out if you're wanting to look in a little bit more detail. And what this section is doing, it's giving you all sorts of suggestions. And the more you use it, as with all AI, the more useful it's going to be. You can see on the right a list of the agents. There's accounting, payments, and customers. And what it's suggesting here on this particular file is that we've got overdue invoices. Always good to know that where they are. It's looking at your profit and loss. I would take this with a grain of salt because, as you can see, you have a lot of transactions here to review. If you click categorize transactions, it's going to take you to your bank feed. And then down here, it says that 38% of your invoices in the last year were paid late or not at all, and it's suggesting you add a late fee. So it's kind of useful as a, I don't know, a financial advice kind of low level, but something that might just help you to manage your business. And as I mentioned, it's going to get a little bit better the more you use it. So the next thing we see is reports. And once again, we really only have to hover. When we hover over this, you have the same options you're accustomed to seeing: your standard reports, custom reports, management reports, and an additional one, financial planning. So this here is a cash flow planner. I haven't started playing with that yet. If you have, I'd love to hear what you think, and probably that will be the next video. And then, of course, my apps. Now, right below this icon, you have the option for further customization. This is where you can select which apps you would like to have pinned on this bar. So kind of we have our bookmarks up here, and now we're down below here, and we also have pinned apps. So let's go to the very bottom here and click customize. And we can select which apps are going to be pinned along on this bar. So let's grab, let's pin time, and let's pin sales tax. And we can reorder them. Or we might decide that time is more important than expenses and getting bills paid or paying bills. So let's save this and see what it does. Now you can see we have accounting, time, expenses, and sales. I guess too, what we're pinning here is the entire section, and what we're bookmarking is the tab within the section. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Another thing QuickBooks has done this time around is they've expanded this search bar. They've moved it, but also now you can use it to search for modules, which is kind of interesting. So for example, if I put chart of accounts here, it'll give me the option to jump to the chart of accounts. So previously we used this search bar to find transactions, amounts, different things. Now we can also use it to navigate. I feel as though they've taken away the easy navigation and then given us a whole pile of different ways to do what we used to do very easily before. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm not a fan yet, but we'll see. I might become one. So let's just test this out a little. I'm going to type the word invoice up here. And you can see here, I have a myriad of options I would not have had before. We now have the option to create the invoice, which previously we'd just click here and create. Not too sure why that's helpful. Jump to invoices. This was something that we couldn't do before. And then also down here, we have a list of invoice reports, and that's kind of useful. Now on the dashboard also, when we return to the dashboard, across the top here, we have these apps again. They only show up on the dashboard when we're in our other pages. For example, when we went to, if we go to, let's go to our bank transactions page. They're not showing up across the top here, so it's just something for the dashboard. If we pop back to the dashboard now and scroll down to that section that we used to see immediately. So we go past the AI and we get down to here. So you can add, personalize, change this. I always like to be able to see my sales for the previous 12 months. So I'm going to save a widget for sales. And here it is. It's saying the last 30 days. I loved it when we had the option for prior 365 days. So I could just be monitoring always where I was at. But unfortunately, that is an option they took away. The best we can kind of do now is a rolling 12 months. And, we're in the sample company. It doesn't really help. We can also move these around. Now, how do I do that? Where's that click? Customize your dashboard. There it is. So I can pop my sales across to here. And that's a little bit more useful to me. Save. And there we go. I can straight away see what my profit and loss looks like, expenses and sales. I used to also have invoices up there. So just play around, have a look in here and just work out what you want to see when you're looking at your dashboard. Now there's one other little trick that I'd like to mention while we're looking at this, and it's control period. It takes that entire little narrow bar away. You might have noticed with QuickBooks before, sometimes you would be looking at things and you just could not see that right screen and you'd be closing that up. So control period brings it in and takes it away, which is a really, really nice little tip. Mind you, with it being so narrow, it's probably not as big as an issue as it was before. Also, you might notice that when I was popped away before, I was hitting dashboard to go back. Now you can hit the logo. Once again, it's another one of those things that I really truly don't see the value in, but it's there.
What do you think? Will this make your life easier with all of the customizable options, or would you prefer they just left everything alone? Hopefully there won't be any significant changes again for quite a while, and we can get used to this and do our accounting and bookkeeping and not have to keep relearning the QuickBooks interface. So I'd love to know what you think. Do make a comment below, and as always, reach out if I can be of further assistance, and click like, subscribe, and ring that little bell because I've got a ton more videos coming out in the next month or so.